Hey guys, Mr.Higgles here. So today I didn't necessarily want to play a match in this video. I thought I'd talk a little bit about hangar setup, balancing, excuse me, and the black market a little bit, and the dash bots. So the first thing is, let's hop into the black market screen here. So I posted a video about me opening some chests, and that video is like my most played video. It's got like 34 or 35 views, and that's amazing. Like, I'm so thankful for you guys for watching that video. And in that video, I opened a lot of chests and didn't get any dash bots, and that's because this is a gamble. You're not guaranteed anything. You know, a player could spend $50,000 and theoretically never get a dash bot because it's a gamble. Now, Pixonic, I think is more than likely going to nerf the dash bots. They might not, but I kind of feel like they are. And they even told us that. They said, you know, we're going to be introducing the dash bots, and depending on how they do, we might tweak them, we might nerf them. So just heads up on that. You know, they were at least upfront and honest. You know, before, like with the aphids, they buffed them, people spent money getting them, leveled them up, and then they nerfed them. And they were trying to be more upfront, saying, hey, you know, we could tweak these, so be careful, don't spend so much money on the black market, because they might change. Now, I wouldn't worry too much, because they're still going to be great. They're still going to be great. We don't know what kind of tweaks they're going to do, but I can't imagine it's going to make them not good. You know what I mean? So don't worry about that. But just be aware that they could be tweaking them. So at this point, I wouldn't go too heavy on trying to get them money-wise. Just, you know, try to earn keys in game and then spend them that way. And then Bag of Soup just released a video, I think maybe it was last week sometime, where he was saying that Pixonic is probably going to do another way to get them. So keep in mind for that as well. So let's talk about hangar setup and hangar balancing. So what I've got running right now, this is basically the hangar that I use to get into Champion League. And these are my levels right now, and they've gone up since getting into Champion League. I got in with basically everything at level... Half my hangar was at level 10, and the half was at 11, with like one thing being level 9. I think one of my Tempest was level 9. But this is the hangar that I use, and it works really, really, really well for me. Everybody's hangar is going to be different because of their own play style, but there's some things that you want to keep in mind when you're building your hangar. So... I'm a part of a few different messenger groups and all that kind of stuff, and I saw somebody going on about how great this setup was right here, this Griffin. And there's something that you need to be aware of when you run this type of bot. So pinatas, or however you want to say them, I think they're actually called pinatas, but they're splash damage, they're rockets. And the Tyrans are obviously plasma. And these two weapons don't complement each other at all. They just don't. The problem with it is you're basically rendering half of your bot useless in certain situations. And now sometimes it can work to your advantage. I'll give you that. Sometimes it's good to have that splash damage and to have that plasma. But more often than not, you're going to find that it would have just been better to run Pinatas and Orkans or Tyran Magnums. Because if you're coming up to someone like a Lancelot and they have an Angel Shield, well, your Plasma is going to go through them, but all your Pinata shots are just going to be wasted. Also, they've got different ranges. Tyrans are 350 and Pinatas are 300. And, you know, if you wanted to like wait and have someone else knock down their Angel Shield while you're firing your Plasma, and then you fire your Pinatas after that, you're having to do too much, and you can't just push the fire button and just launch it all, because you've got different types of weapons. So I would really be careful about running this kind of setup. Now this setup right here is pretty good. Now, it used to be better because the aphids were a little bit better, but it's still viable, still good. Now, the reason for that is because the aphids work in a different mechanic. So you can fire them from behind cover and then jump and then, you know, shoot the person as you're going by. That's very viable. There's a reason for that, and not just for splash versus plasma. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is on Carnage, I've seen this kind of setup. Now, disregard the levels because I don't really use these weapons very much, but or at all. But this is extremely limiting to what you can do. And I've even seen, probably even more so, is the Trident Trebuchet Carnage, or I saw a Trident Trebuchet Rajin, and it's just so ineffective because if you look at the Trebuchet, it's got a distance of 1,100 meters. 1,100. The Zeus has 600. So if you're farther away than 600, the only weapon you can fire is your Trebuchet, and one Trebuchet isn't going to do that much damage. It's going to kind of be useless. But if you were running two of them, you would do a lot more damage. And if you were running two Zeus, you could just be a little bit closer and use two Zeus and be much more effective than splitting your weapons up. Now, the reason I bring this to your attention, and the reason why I wanted to do a video on it, is because, you know, I see a lot in lower leagues. Like, I have an Android account, and I'm in Gold League there. And I see a lot of people running these types of setups, and they don't work very well. When you start getting into Expert League, even higher Diamond League, you know, Master League, and especially Champion League, you don't see setups like this Carnage right here, because it doesn't work very well. And players who have been playing the game a long time and have a lot of experience don't run it because it's not viable. It's just, you're limiting what you can do for each bot. So for me, this is my optimal hangar. This is what I enjoy running, and it's what works for me. You need to build a hangar on what works for you, and you need to decide and kind of feel out what kind of play style that you have. Excuse me. My Tempests are for long range, but I don't usually use them for very long ranges. I like to use them at a Punisher range, like 500 meters or so, because it does tons more damage, and you get more shots hitting. But see, I've got this RDB here, and I usually start off with that, so I can prevent people from either getting beacons or damage them and hurt them, so my other teammates can kill them, and that's pretty effective as the round starts off. And as I go through, I'll choose different bots for different situations, but this is my playstyle. This is what I enjoy playing. That's what I'm good at. Some people like to run more of a campy kind of hangar, and that can be okay. It just depends on how you're helping your team. I've got like a half kind of brawler hangar and a half kind of medium mid-range meta hangar, and that works really well for my team. As you can see, my damage is pretty high. It was higher, but I've been doing some really weird videos, and so it dropped below 700. Pretty hardcore. But, you know, I've got a better than 50% victory rate. I usually float between 60-ish, around there somewhere, with this hangar. And it does pretty well because it allows me to cover my team with a little bit of distance, and then it allows me to also get up there and get in there and get nasty. If you want to say, and do some damage and protect beacons at full range. I like to brawl. It is my favorite, but having these, you know, these mid-range metabots in here, like this Griffin right here, does a lot for your team. In fact, this was my favorite bot to run for a very, very, very long time. Something I want to point out with this dock before I end the video and stop my rambling is I have this setup right here. This setup for me is probably my favorite. I've run a few different setups on here, and there's a lot of viable setups, but this for me is my favorite because I can start off with the Columbus, and I can get them at range, and then if I need to get closer, if they get closer to me, I can flip right over and use my Orkans and finish them off, or just do lots of damage to them. But this bot right here is a support bot, nothing more, nothing less. It supports. If I were to throw 4 Orkans on it, my damage output, my DPS would be huge. It would grow exponentially, but it wouldn't be as supporting. It would be more of a brawler / like sweeper, I guess you could say, sweeper bot, just going in and doing tons and tons of damage. But that's not always beneficial for the team. You know, you could get 1 million damage every single time every single game and not helping your team very much. So that's kind of what I've designed my hangar to be. If you have any questions about bot setups, and like trying to figure out what you like to play as and what your strengths are, feel free to message me. I have my Facebook page, Jason Higgles, and I'll put it down in the description below. Private message me on Messenger, and feel free to ask me any kind of questions on it. Subscribe if you're new here, if you like what you see. Hit that little bell so you know when I upload videos. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care, kill some reds, and more importantly, have fun. Take care, guys.